For today I wasn't planning to do this video, but don't worry, as there are a few albums from November that I would still like to talk about, or at least one which definitely will be on this channel in a few days. Yesterday I was assembling a special review that will be out on 13th December, as it's the time when the record I was talking about would be out. But today I would like to talk about certain folk metal Verhaal, and what 10/10 folk metal album should sound like. When I was sad, this album was helping me every time, like yesterday for example, and when I was happy, this album was only empowering it. Anyway, hello there, I'm Anthony and we'll be talking about Vanaheim's and Verloren Verhaal. The name of the band is obviously taken from Norse mythology and one of the 9 worlds. The home of Vanir, so race of gods that are associated with wisdom and life, who unfortunately were not treated well by Aesir. So the second race of gods to which for example Odin and Thor belonged, as well as Heimdall and Mimir the All-Knowing. But I'm not here to talk about Norse mythology, so let's move on to the Vanaheim on Earth, somewhere in the Netherlands. I thought they play folk metal, but they are actually pretty far from such typical folk metal bands like Equilibrium, which tend to play as fast music as possible and put as many melodies as possible. And I mean, the advantage of such playing style is definitely enjoyability, but the disadvantage is balancing on cheesiness edge. But for me, Vanaheim doesn't do it. They rather use more glorious melodies and fill some of the spaces with acoustic parts. And sometimes even with neoclassical, I would say. But not such aggressive as Goatcraft, as it wouldn't fit the album very well. And what makes them even further from normal folk metal bands is the length of their songs. I mean, almost 10 minutes isn't a typical length for folk metal song. And shorter tracks on this album are actually acoustic. But in my opinion, it is something that everyone definitely should hear, so let's move on to the music. I think that the beginning of the album tells us already what the rest would look like. And later we receive, I would say, the most friendly blast I have ever heard. But melodic riffs on this track are even stronger. Then how about some slowdown with violin? And later the music transforms into kinda groovy structure. And at the end there is another show-off of melodic riffs. When I heard the first track for the first time, I was pretty impressed, I must admit. But the second one is also a strong contender. Again, awesome beginning. But I think the beauty of this track is hidden in those slower parts. The first half was obviously awesome, but here comes the true banger. It stole my heart lots of times. I mean, it is one of the most beautiful pianos in metal releases. on the same level like my pal from Australia Christian Cosentino does. But then there are mixed violins with guitars which only make this track better. And the third track is the first shorter track, and which is fully instrumental. Track number 4 is the juiciest and the grooviest thing on this album. And it nails again with the beginning. But the strongest part of this song are clean vocals. Which then occur with more groovy stuff. And then comes solo on an instrument I unfortunately can't fully identify. It's maybe flute, violin or accordion, and there is obviously guitar with it. Track number 5 is another instrumental slowdown.
Zijn stam uit de bodem reikt.
And the last track, which is the longest one on this album, I guess 11 minutes isn't a typical length for folk metal song, and honestly I always don't remember this track very well, as my mind is always focused on 5 previous ones, but it is basically the same story that was on those previous tracks. I love the parts with flutes at the beginning. And for example, progressive riffs at the end. Generally, this track is so strong that capturing every part of it in this video would be difficult, so I chose the 2 ones, and please listen to the whole album. I had to skip lots of great parts, unfortunately, but everything is there. And now, thank you all for watching this video. I'm encouraging to sub my channel and to like this video. I know it is a little unplanned video, but definitely wanted for me. See you soon in my next creations!